Well, what's going on in Australia? John Oakes posted a compilation of videos of the constructions union protesting against getting vaccinated out there. And this is, I don't know, you know, it's very hard to change people's minds about salt and about strategy. And when a public has been so brainwashed that they think they have to get something done or they have to stay away from a certain mineral or food in the food supply, people are set up to fail. This was the intended outcome. What's happening right now in Australia is the intended outcome. So, you know, no matter it's like, yeah, I kind of feel bad for people who don't have a strategy, that are thinking that there's only two options. Either submit or resist, or go out there and resist. That's the binary system of slavery. The binary system of slavery is exactly what is going on in Melbourne, in America, but that's self-induced, that's self-imposed. See, there's this whole Trinity. Now, I know the religious people have their version of the Trinity, and Jehovah's Witnesses have their version of the Trinity. And yeah, they're all very welcome perspectives. But in reality, the Trinity comes down to physics: inside, outside object, or for and against, or find or bring in something to strategize and neutralize both intentions. Whether you get it or not get it, something you bring into your body will neutralize the intentions. But see, that's the thing, is that our system is stuck in this binary slavery type of argument. And, it was meant to be used, I guess, for uniformity. It was meant to be used to make people think that they have a place to go. If they didn't agree with one way, they could just bring in some different words that mean the same thing, and then you think you have a choice, right? It's all the same shit. And so the third option is always something that understands both sides and it rises above and it neutralizes both sides if both sides are detrimental. And it reverses the intentions. Salt reverses the intentions. And so, yeah, this whole thing with the foreign objects in your body, I read a Facebook post that reminded me of a couple of years ago when they're talking about microchips. Would you put a microchip in your hand and all that stuff, and the whole mark of the beast and all that stuff? I covered that. And I talked about the antibodies mark of the beast, but another version of the mark of the beast is like, putting it in a microchip in your hand, or the QR code. But I mean, all of that is just like, okay, people get tattoos all the time. I mean, you can say that's the mark of the beast if you want. People do things to disfigure themselves. That could be the mark of the beast. So mark of the beast is all relative to how you want to characterize that. But high sodium diets release foreign objects. Okay, high sodium diets release foreign objects. That's why they don't promote salt in the medical system, because the medical system is all about transhumanism. It's all about putting in implants because you have a problem. And so transhumanism is where you bring in stuff like, pig skin or stents or screws or, I don't know, the Libre, all right, where you want to test your sugar levels just by putting your phone right over your body of where there's an implant. I mean, all these things that people are using so the medical system can keep track of them remotely, or the medical system can go in and just start doing weird things because you have a problem. Or the medical system can come in and start doing stuff. I'm trying to think of things to say, but I can't think of things to say. But the low sodium diets is so that whatever the medical system wants to do to you as far as implants and whatever else, it will stay and put, like transplants. See, transplants are a huge industry. It's not really optimal. Transplants are not optimal. Transplants not only put you at a deficit, like a major deficit, but you do definitely have a lifespan. Because as soon as you bring in a high sodium diet and you're bringing, all the food in the food supply, you're not discriminating against food. At some point, the body's going to want to regenerate that organ that transplant is used for. It's going to be painful. And eventually, when the body can feel like it's standing on its own, that transplant won't be useful. Well, you could skip that whole step and just regrow the organ. Come on, sugar. Hold on. Come on, Sugar. Come in. All right. Come on, sugar. You want to come here? Come on. Come on. I got to help her up. Come on. Let's go. Up. Okay. But yeah, I mean, transplants need a very weak immune system because a strong immune system would not allow that transplant to take place. And so that's why transplant patients are very subject to the conditions of the environment. They're on a specific diet of some sort. They have to be. Because if they eat food, it'll be painful, and it will be painful for their transplant. And so they stay away from fermentation. They stay away from anything that will cause the body to want to get rid of that and try to regrow, and it's painful. So low sodium diets sustain the medical holistic system's transhumanist intentions. The CRISPR gene editing, I don't know about CRISPR gene. Well, I don't know. Here's the thing. When you get a virus that comes in that has specific programming, even like CRISPR gene editing, so as long as the body is able to withstand that upgrade, it'll enhance whatever it is the programming is. So as long as the programming allows the body to utilize all the food in the food supply to grow the proteins and, upgrade the organs and the tissues and all the systems. But when you bring a foreign object, something like, pig skin, or something like a stent or a screw, or mesh, or all the stuff that is huge in the medical system, those will be rendered defunct. And so this is something that when you guys embark on the JJ protocol and you have implants, I'm not saying that the JJ protocol or your body's going to just shoot out those implants right on contact. But if there is no safe place for those implants to exit, cartilage is going to build up all around it. You might as well get those implants taken out if they're breast implants, because they're going to destroy you anyways. As far as like your stents and your screws, if you have like long rods in your arms to be in place of the bones, well, you'll be subject to, the lifespan that is programmed by the system, because if you actually do the JJ protocol, the body will deal with that at some point. It might deal with everything else first, but eventually either those are going to be pushed aside or something, because it's going to be painful. Because the body, once it's activated, it knows that these things don't belong in your body. And it's going to want to find a way to either push them aside, just like a bullet in your head, that you can't get operated on because you go brain dead. And so the doctors leave the bullet in your head. But, eventually that bullet might make its way out through your nose. Or if there's no safe exit point, it'll build cartilage all around it. So then you have this big, huge, but then at some point it'll work its way out. Somebody way in the beginning was talking about doing the JJs, and she had an accident a long time ago where the windshield glass all got into her face. And so the doctor couldn't get all the glass out of her face. So over time, her body healed, but it didn't get all the glass. So it just kind of dealt with those foreign objects. But she wasn't on a high sodium diet to allow the body to release those pieces of glass. But when she was on the JJ protocol, even with the pink salt, she said that she felt glass coming out of her face. The body was finally activated. The immune system was finally activated enough to release those foreign objects. And it was safe because there were still there were still enough to be able to come out. They weren't embedded so deep that it had to go through other processes. No, it came out through her skin. And so, the body is very, very intelligent if you give it the energy and the intelligence to do what it needs to do. But people have dumbed down their bodies and dumbed down, you know, they have withheld intelligence that the body isn't equipped to deal with. How to take care of trauma, and that would be like accidents. That would be, just blunt force type of situations. And so yeah, people are stuck kind of in a cured state. So yeah, when you're in a car accident and your leg gets, smashed, so what does this system do? Instead of saying, okay, you got to regrow that leg, it's going to be painful, they put you in a cured state. Okay, so then people are living on their life. Yeah, they're alive, but they don't have their leg. Why don't they have their leg? Because the system doesn't want to set you up to win by saying, okay, if you want to regrow that leg and that foot and all that, or try to save whatever it was instead of destroying. I don't know what would cause a person to lose their leg in a car accident, but many things could happen, and maybe it's unsalvageable, and so it is painful. But there's probably ways of which that they could probably help that person regrow that leg and set them up that it's going to be painful, but if you want your body back to where it was supposed to be prior to the accident, this is what you have to go through. Or they put you in a cured state. They're like, okay, we're gonna give you the antibiotics for the pain, so all the painkillers put you in a cured state. So that's what, when people have phantom leg pains, it's because the body is trying to grow. And then when a person feels those phantom pains, right? Or they, and there's sensations where they actually feel like, because there's energy that's supposed to happen, but it's being squelched by the painkillers. You got to realize that, you don't have to be in this cured state. And when you get exposed to trauma, you don't have to just keep looping in the same trauma. That's what amputees are kind of like. It's like a ghost, okay, that cannot get out of that loop. A ghost that dies, that is a person that dies from trauma. And so the record keeps playing the same trauma over and over and over. And that's what heart attack patients do, feel like. So anyone that's in a cured state, they are looping in the same trauma. Go look out there in Australia. They're all punching air, looping in the same trauma of, oh my God, they're trying to kill us. When really it's not. But the binary arguments of either for and against has brainwashed people that they feel they have no other choice. And so they're looping in that trauma as, if I don't submit, then I'm a slave. If I submit, then I'm a slave. And so that's the thing, is that cured states keep people stuck in their trauma, stuck looping. And so yeah, an amputee patient, they're trying to make they're doing their best to live their life and feel like that doesn't really hurt me, and they're trying to rise above their trauma. It's still a reminder. They still struggle. Oh, they put on a great face. Oh, I'm sure. Okay, but I'm saying, trauma patients who amputees are looping because it's right there, the reminder's right there. And people who get the surgeries and they get all the different, things done to them by the medical system, they're traumatized. They were traumatized once to require them to go to the medical system, then they get traumatized again. Then they get cured in that state, so they have to relive that shit over and over. I remember when something happened to me and I was trying to escape something. And I was trying to open up a gate that I didn't have access to on one side of it. So I was trying to push a button on the other side of it. Didn't realize that the person opened the gate, but I could have had my arm cut off. And I was like, holy shit. And it was trauma. I thought that my arm was going to get cut off because where I had my hand in the gate trying to touch the button. And I remember it took a few months for me not to remember that fear that my arm was going to get cut off from that gate. And there was that trauma that I would live with for I would say a good year. I don't have that trauma, that fear anymore. I don't know which side, I forget which side, you know. But that's the thing. You know, when you are in a traumatic experience and you don't find a way to literally heal and regenerate, you are reliving that every fucking day. That is the cure. That's the hell on this earth. That is hell on this earth, is when you are in a cured state from trauma and you're reliving everything because the system doesn't allow you to heal. They don't teach you how to deal with pain. You're taking all your pills, powder, supplements, and detoxes and withholding food. And so you can't help but be like a ghost that's stuck in a loop until something frees it. Frees, not freeze. And so being in a cured state is not the optimal way to be because it freezes you in a trauma that you have to now figure out how to rise above and pretend everything is great. Put on a great face. Go off and do these great things to show that you can handle being in this deficit. I'm telling you, people at a deficit don't like being at a deficit, but they feel they have no other choice. Then they have to go and perform and then be the face, like on CNN. Oh, this person has overcome all these challenges by saying, okay, I have no legs, but I'm going to go run a race. Okay, that's great. Good for you. But you know, what if you could have grown those legs? Would you have to play these games of I can rise above and here's what I can do and then be like a shooting star or a supernova at some point when your body depletes because it's already experiencing trauma over and over and over again, and it doesn't have what it takes to deal with an environment that's cannibalizing them. They don't have enough defense systems. When you don't have your legs, you don't have the defense systems. When you don't have parts of your heart and parts of your lungs and parts of your intestines, and you don't have parts of like your tonsils or all that stuff, you are at a deficit. How the hell are you going to survive in this freaking society when you are missing parts of, you know, your system that you can't even possibly think to regenerate because it'd be too painful? So, yeah, high sodium diets is the enemy of the medical system. Then they demonize those on high sodium diets and say, oh yeah, that's why they're obese. That's why they have kidney stones. That's why they have this and that. So they find ways to psychologically manipulate people and blame their conditions on the food and what they eat versus the medical system take responsibility that they never gave you the option to regrow because it would take money out of their pocket. And so if they could scare you away from salt, that's 90% of what keeps them going. If people understood salt, they would realize that salt would neutralize the vectors. Oh no, no one says anything about salt in Australia. Not even my Jilly Juice crowd there in Australia. They're not mentioning anything about salt to their friends and family. Maybe they're doing the J juice, maybe not. But why aren't they saying stuff out there to people in Australia, to all of their friends? You know, the salt can neutralize the mRNA. And if you're already on lockdown anyways, you might as well do the JJ and release some demons. Eat all the food in the food supply and quell the anxiety. Quell your fucking demons. No, it's all about punching air and going, oh my God, the government's trying to destroy us. It's turning into World War II. And so guess what? It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I see really why I was so attacked and why Dr. Phil couldn't wait to get his hands on me. Figuratively. And I feel sorry for those that don't understand salt. Because yeah. But it is what it is. But I'm just going to say, yeah, we have a lot of people who are kind of like ghosts in their own right, just looping in the same trauma. And when you're in a cured state that was already initially traumatized from a medical condition or an accident, and they get traumatized again by the medical system, then forcing you to deal with that shit every single day, that's why people say, I don't want to be in this world anymore, because they have no way out. They're enslaved in the medical system in a cured state. The cures are what enslaves people. That's what people don't realize. You're looking for the cure, that's going to enslave you. Yeah, you can have a great velvet prison, or you can have a very traumatic prison. Velvet prison, like doing the J juice, right? Continuously never getting off until you die, because you don't feel anything until the body just, shuts down after like a long time. When you are a slave in a very traumatic dystopian prison is when you are missing arms and legs and organs and heart attacks and strokes and all this other stuff. And yeah, you're alive, but you're at a deficit. And you have to pretend that you're okay, that you're overcome your trauma from all of those procedures and all of the initial, trauma, and that you can rise above. You're still maintaining, you're running a race despite that you're missing all these things. That's the dystopian jail, is when you are stuck in a cured state, having to relive that trauma every single freaking day of your life until you pass away. That is the slavery. If you want to know what freedom is when you are not stuck in that cured state that you can evolve with the environment. Freedom is free in your mind, but you have to understand what it takes. It's not just like, oh, I can go read a book and say, oh, this is great, or learn like a little thing here and there, or go into the conspiracy. Well, that's not free in your mind. Free in your mind is where you're realizing that no matter what the system does to you as far as the medical and public health, it's not going to deplete you. That if you get something happen to you, something traumatic, you can regenerate. You don't have to be in a cured state, reliving that trauma every single day of your life until you pass away. Because cures do not save lives over a long period of time. Cures actually keep you stayed stuck in the environment and cannibalizes you. So, holy shit. Holy shit. And so, if those riots like that happened over there in Melbourne happen here, Canton, Ohio, we have our issues, but let me tell you, not much goes on in Canton, Ohio. Think about it. It gets quelled pretty quickly. It's the bigger cities like Cleveland, Columbus, maybe Cincinnati, Toledo, potentially. I don't live in the bigger cities. So, I don't know. You guys have a good day. Bye.